was thinking of doing some print. I had this idea. So what I was thinking I might do with print is I think I'm not going to closet, but I'm going to do a closet. So I'll have to like maybe start on my closet and do 4 kids' closets. Is big double letters PRINT, and then get those little round stickers and white poster, big P, big R, whatever. And anytime they display something from that, they put a sticker with their initials. And then I'll have different color for each letter. But I was just thinking that because I definitely want to incorporate a lot into the classroom. But
so you're going to use it on like 5 doors?
Yeah, that's where I was going to.
I got to sign each door a letter.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. But I only have 4 doors, so I have to put a P on my closet.
Oh, so I have 5. Yeah.
No, it'd be perfect.
I'm not a fan of this coconut one. Sure.
Yes. Nice.
I like buy drinks, but I tried the coconut one. I'm not a fan.
Oh, is it the buy?
Not a fan. I like them all except for the coconut. And someone told me you gotta try the coconut.
Really?
Everyone had a good weekend. Fun filled with fish. A baby shower.
So what's up now? You're doing high school, but what would you do prior to that? My summer stuff.
So I coach travel too.
Who's this?
For
Please. Yes.
You guys even
What
know?
age?
Do you live in Omaha?
Right in between us.
Okay. So I coach 12 boys. So they are.
No, I'm just wondering because NearPod is now
Born in
like
2007?
probably
6?
no, because my son now he plays for Revolution. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
And he played for Trumbull United for 2 years.
Mint,
Played for Trumbull United.
care for a mint, sir?
Oh, no, I'm good, thanks.
Well, no, I know 2 coaches at Trumbull. I know Jay. Actually 3. I know Jay. I know Frank. And I know Steve.
It's one of those.
Uh-oh.
And you know what it is?
What am I doing here?
I need your personal email.
Right there.
So I can send you
Okay.
Why? I think it's pregnant.
Yeah, got it.
so
I
if you
like
have
it.
Gmail or Yahoo.
Okay, where else can I put it? You know what it was?
What you talking about?
So I'm closest.
You're being honest, you really
don't
don't.
talk to him.
You don't-
I don't know. Our rooms are very open, so there's not a lot of like nooks and crannies.
No, you're not
got
gonna
nothing but nooks and crannies, just nothing to hide.
They dropped one off for me. He's saying he doesn't like my spot.
No, that's
It doesn't matter what he likes.
My son's
You know,
like,
we,
actually, I don't
we
think
Put this on, just put you on this second.
I don't think you're being very careful.
Because it's live already.
Okay.
The sound isn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this
They
one's
just
back.
didn't Is our
That happens.
and he wasn't respectful back then. Nicole wasn't respectful back then. So we ended up finding us that United Revolution.
I heard him.
See, that's what happens when you don't come to the first meeting. You have no idea what you're doing, Mom.
Okay, so listen, we're actually going to get started just because we're live streaming to the rest of the district.
Pop across to the other 5th grade teachers because they're right there and let me
Okay.
let them know.
Sounds good.
Because they should.
All of a sudden, a bunch
Okay, they're coming. From Ralph. You emailed.
So what you have
Hey, guys.
to do already, and something like to do is go on
What is it? This is a new club they're trying to
your pod.
And I,
You should have gotten an email.
if you didn't get an email, I've got a spreadsheet with everybody's name and user IDs on it too. So, let me let me just kind of click you on so that this way the mic goes live.
Okay, are we on? If you haven't done so already, I'm going to ask that you log on to NearPod, all right, NearPod.com. Using your new teacher account, you should have received it within the last 24 hours or so.
Yeah, and while you guys are getting set up, let me just kind of say hello as you guys are logging in and finding these emails. If anybody doesn't know me, I'm Ralph Alendisi. I'm your Chief of Technology Innovation and Partnerships for the district. So one of the things I manage is our IT, but another piece is digital learning. We really haven't done a lot since I've kind of come back to the district in the last couple of years, and we're focusing on this over the next year. This is one example of that, meaning our digital citizenship curriculum. And recently, a little while ago, we tried a pilot with 3 schools, with Brookside, Layton, and Cranberry, around the idea of piloting a digital citizenship curriculum using a platform called NearPod back in the spring. And it actually went off really well. We were able to receive a grant for this. So we wanted to expand it this year to everybody to have availability for it. The nice thing about the platform is today is really an informal way of learning about NearPod as a whole. So you guys will get a chance to log in, learn how the platform works. Our licensing allows you to have access to every lesson that's there, which means that you're not going to be having to just deal with digital citizenship. You can actually create your own lessons, and there's a lot of other content that's there that's already aligned to your standards. You can be pulling in. Most of those teachers at those other buildings would probably say that they would use this on a regular basis, outside of digital citizenship for the most part. And I think that you guys will get to that point very soon too. So today's a day to just kind of get familiar with the platform, get in, start playing with it, getting familiar with where we run it as a whole. We were lucky enough to have Dee Dee here from NearPod to work with us. And the other thing that we're doing today too is you guys are the first, well I guess really the second since we tried it this morning, of changing the model of the way that we do professional development. Part of what I'm going to do over this next year is there's not enough time during the day to get to all the PD that you need to get to. So we need to find ways of better interacting and using blended learning opportunities, not only with kids, but with adults. So we'll be creating a learning management system that it's learning for teachers to use, and all of this content will be available through YouTube and on those areas. So you'll also have other content throughout the year. So there'll be some STEM-related PD that you'll probably be doing this year. There'll be some other types of PD where you may not have to be there always in person. You can get the content and then actually spend your, the quality time that you really need to collaborate in person and focus on that area. So today we are live streaming right now. So anybody that's listening online at the other schools, welcome. Just make sure that you kind of log in if you can. If you can't find your emails, just come see me over here once Dee Dee gets started, and I have a spreadsheet for you to be able to do that. Anybody online, shoot me an email and I'll get back to you in just a little bit.
I'm just wondering if anybody got the email.
No, I got one saying you will get one, but never received one.
It may be in your spam.
No, I just
we just
went
went the other.
So what we can do for now is, if you can just go and type in nearpod.com, and you're going to go through this portion of the presentation as a student, okay? So you're going to go to nearpod.com and just get ready to go through this portion as a student.
And then I'll send you I'll send you your password that you have to change a little bit later today if I have to, so not a problem.
Okay, so thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. We had a great morning session. I am Dee Dee Leone, Diane Leone, and I am with NearPod, but this is not my day job, because next week I'll be sitting where you're sitting, because I am also a teacher, and I've been teaching for 32 years, and I have the opportunity to do training when I'm not teaching. So I was a technology trainer for my building in addition to being a math teacher. So I taught 3rd grade, and I taught 4th grade, and I taught 5th grade and 6th grade, and then I became a math specialist. But Google actually came into our district 5 years ago in Hillsborough, New Jersey, and we became a one-to-one district. So with that, our superintendent was asking teachers, not tech teachers, because who better knows what teachers need than other teachers, content teachers. And they said, hey, we want you to learn technology and then turnkey it to the other teachers. So I said, I'm in. So I learned Kahoot and Quizzes and Quizlet and Socrative and Google. And then I came across NearPod and I fell in love with the platform. It was, for me, a way that, especially if you're not familiar with a lot of apps, it takes the best of the features of all the others and wraps it up in one box, and you can do as much or as little as you want with it. So I started stalking them, and I said, I really love your platform. I'm written for LearnZillion. So I started as a writer, so I do have content in the library. But then I joined as a pioneer. So during the summer, and then when I have off, I go to schools just like this one, and I share the love. So 32 years, it's crazy. 3 decades, so I've seen a lot of things over 32 years. And I think one of the reasons why I'm so excited still is because technology is really changing the way I mean, just look at our classroom now. Like, it is not your traditional rows and desks. We have seating that's different from what we've had in the past. Speaking of from what we've had in the past, this is a smart board. Does it work,
Yes.
Maria?
Right now the green light is not on. I'm
Okay.
not sure why I haven't used it yet this school year, so
No worries,
I
I'll go with the
apologize.
mouse. Okay, so when I started teaching and I had content I wanted to deliver, I had to go with maybe an overhead projector, right? With our transparencies and our this markers, and we were able to project and give students the information. There's also the film strip projector, and there was, yeah, and you know, as our class helper board, there was a film strip projector person that would advance the film. But then we got really high tech with the VHS, you know, the TV and VCR, right? With that was just an accident waiting to happen. It was all top heavy. There were, you know, caution labels, be careful. You had your VHS tapes, and there were 3 of them in the school. And we were always fighting, especially around holidays or breaks or at the end of the year, who was going to sign up first, because you only had limited resources. But my all-time favorite is, of course, the mimeograph machine. Yes, the mimeograph machine, the dinosaur. And for those of you that are young and newer, you might be looking like a couple of teachers last session never saw this or heard of this before. And you would get these dittos and you would have to write on them, and then you would feed it in and then crank it out, and it'd come out blue and your hands would be blue. But what was the best part about the mimeograph machine? The smell, yeah. You would take it and you would smell it. So that's how we used to deliver content, and we really changed things around since then. So it gives me a lot of joy and excitement to work with this company, NearPod, because it has been a game changer in my teaching, and hopefully it will be in yours. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit my not my PowerPoint, it was a Google Slides presentation. And I'm going to go on to my NearPod, all right? So here I go. I'm going to go on to my NearPod. I'm going to sign in using my Google sign-in. And you are not going to go on as a teacher right now. I'd like you to experience NearPod as a student, all right? So what I'm projecting is the teacher view, all right? So I'm going to go here. I have some folders and I have some lessons that I've created or I've downloaded. And I'm going to go to my digital citizenship, and I'm going to go to my introduction to NearPod. So I have 2 goals today. 1, to give you an overview of NearPod, but 2, to also give you a sneak peek at what our digital citizenship looks like and the curriculum that's available, because depending upon your situation, you're going to be asked as teachers to incorporate it into your instruction. The good news is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are some there are all interactive lessons So you just click a button and you're ready to go. So you don't have to worry about a thing. So here we go. I'm going to go to Introduction to NearPod, and I actually start this lesson with a few general things. So I'm going to go over to the lesson, and when I hover over it, I have two choices. I have the live lesson or the student pace. The live lesson is the one we're going to be using, but let's say I had a student that wasn't in class that day. I can give them the student pace later. Or let's say I want to differentiate my instruction and I have multiple levels of this lesson. I can do student pace for them. Let's say I'm absent, and let's face it, being absent as an elementary teacher is so difficult. It's sometimes easier just to come in and be sick and deal with lesson plans, right? It's so true. And my husband, what are you doing? You're sick. I'm just going to go in. You know, it's just easier for me to do this. Because even if you leave lesson plans, you're going to have that sub who never follows your lesson plans anyway, right? And does their own thing, right? So what's nice about the student pace is, like, I went to Boston a few years ago for NCTM, National Council of Teacher of Mathematics. So I had not one, but 2 days worth of lesson plans. And a couple of the lessons, I just gave the student pace to the students. So they were able to go through the lessons and be held accountable, and I got a report. So everything that you're doing right now, we're going to get a report on. He knows. All right, so we're going to go to live lesson, but before I do that, I will show you that the 3 dots here, I can share any lesson, okay, and that lesson can go into a library. You're going to be able to share with others in your district
school, yep.
Or school right there. So as a group, as a grade level, you can share very easily. Okay, I'm going to go back. You can duplicate a lesson. I like to duplicate a lesson twice. I have my original lesson, and then I could always take the second lesson and make it more accessible for my students, or maybe the other lesson, make it more challenging. So you can differentiate your instruction within a lesson, or at least within one presentation. And then you can assign those as student pace via Google Classroom or in another manner. Okay, so I'm going to go right into live lesson. So what I'd like you to do now is I'm going to relaunch a lesson I started earlier, and I'm going to hit resume, and you can see that there is a 5-letter code. It does not need to be capitals. It's not case sensitive. And I'm going to ask that where it says join, you type in NJXUW. Now, when you're assigning this to your students, you have a couple of, let me just do something real fast. When you're assigning this to students, you can do just that. You can say, okay, go to nearpod.com and type in this code. Or if you're using Google Classroom, it is partnered with Google Classroom, so you can just go right through and it'll bring you right to your classroom. That's how I do 100% of my NearPods. I just go right through Google Classroom. It's a lot easier. All right, so as you're on there, you'll notice that there is a 3D of a castle. And I just put that in when I do training because people are coming into the lesson at different points. So it's just a great little icebreaker, and you can see one of the options that you have as a teacher. All right. Next, what I'd like you to do is take a look at the teacher version, which I'm presenting. And I have the code in the upper left-hand corner. So if at any point a student walks in, you can just tap on that code. Or if you look in the upper right-hand corner, there's a black arrow on yours. And if you just hover over it, pointing down, I believe there is good. Just click on that. Yeah. It does give the code. So a student can just sit down next to another student and then they can get the code that way. But if you're, let's say, 4 or 5 slides in and a student comes in, they can just go on the code, Their name will be put in there, and it'll bring them exactly where the rest of the class is at. So let's take a walk through the teacher's presentation screen, all right? Here we go. I have my code. I have my NearPod drop-down. That's the reports. Everything you're doing, anything that you're going to be submitting today, I will get that collection of data. I will get it. I will be able to download it, PDF, by student or by entire class. Now I'm going to go to the add activity. All right, now add activity is the on-the-fly feature. So let's say there's something that came up in the lesson that I realized I didn't put in the lesson, or I just remembered a really cool website. I can just go to the add activity lesson and then click on web content and then share a specific website, let's say. Or I can do another activity, an open-ended, a draw it feature. So that's what I'm going to choose to do, a draw it feature. So I'm going to type in, how are you feeling right now? So go ahead, now I'm going to click share and watch your devices because it will automatically come up. Now, if you don't have, you have to set, you have to send it.
No, we can't, this is what comes up.
Okay, did you type in your name?
No, but we don't have our codes.
No, you're already in. So hit join session.
Oh, okay, so,
Okay. All right. So if you have a touch screen, you can actually just draw the picture there. If not, you can use your mouse. All right, draw a picture, or you can write some. You can also upload an image if you'd like to do that. You can change the pen color. You can do text. All right. And I'm going to ask that you send that to me. So anytime there's an activity and your students send that activity back to you, you're going to get everyone's responses in a dashboard so you can see everyone's answers. What's great about this is that everyone has a voice. So as I said in the morning group, you have 3 types of kids in your classroom. You have the kids that are very eager and they're always raising their hands. They never stop. You have the kids that are very quiet, introverts, and they don't raise their hands. And then you have someone in the middle, right? So this is particularly good for those students that maybe aren't as confident to share their ideas, maybe shy, because I could select any one of the answers and I can push it out. And no one needs to know, because I tell my students, and you may want to do this as well, is don't write your name on the board. Don't write your name on the canvas, okay? Otherwise they will, and they'll use different letter colors, and A's are red, and they take more time decorating their response than the response itself. So at this time, I'm going to take one that I find particularly intriguing, and I'm going to share it. So look at your screens, and normally I wouldn't be projecting this. I would hide this, but here I would cover it up. So just by clicking, someone's having a bad hair day. Or it's trying to draw with the mouse, which is a skill within itself. So I shared it, and you can see that you don't know whose it is, right? Now, the students may volunteer that information, but they don't have to. I love it. It's a way to showcase work that's exemplars, or perhaps want some that maybe used a different strategy in terms of getting at an answer that you want to share with the rest of the group. So my favorite story is one time I was working with my 2nd graders, and I had this problem. And one of the students did this. So if we had a dime for every time our students forgot to regroup in grades 2, 3, 4, and sometimes even 5, we'd be pretty wealthy. At least I would. So obviously she's making an error. So I have all the kids' work on my dashboard, and they can't see the dashboard, so I push one out. I say, okay, I'm going to show someone's work. Now remember, this is a safe environment, and my kids know that I will push out problems that have answers that are incorrect at times, and that's okay, because mistakes are opportunities for your brain to grow. We embrace the growth mindset. It's okay, make mistakes, grow your brain. So I push out this, and the kids all look at it, and then instantly a hand shoots up, and she says, I know what that student did wrong. She didn't go over and regroup from the tens place. They should have made it a 4 and made it a 12 and subtracted. And I said, yes, that's what that student didn't do right, and that's what they needed to do. And everyone was happy, but I asked you, do you know who that student was that offered that? The student who made the mistake. The student who made the mistake said she caught her mistake, she self-corrected, she was able to demonstrate that to me, and nobody knew it was her this whole time. I knew it was her, and she knew it was her, but nobody else knew it was her. So
the teacher one, it doesn't say Lisa Kaplan on top?
it does say Lisa Kaplan on top, yes. So I'll show you what it looks like. So this is my screen, okay? So I can see everyone's work, all right? And then I could push out more. All right, and it's popping up on yours. Now, there is a workaround. If you do want to project, you do have an option as we're moving around here. On the lower right-hand side, you can click Hide Student Names. And just like that, the asterisk will cover up all the student names. So that's applicable not only to the draw feature, but let's say you have an open-ended question and the kids are responding. It's going to come up, and the asterisk will be there. So nobody needs to know. However, I don't often project that. On my LCD projector, I just mute it so that it just covers it up and it goes dark. Because I don't want them to see what I see. Because I don't want them to be influenced by what other kids are writing. Okay? All right. So this is the draw it feature. It was a draw it feature within the on the fly feature. So I'm going to close this activity now. I'm going to end it, and we're going to go right back to where we were. So I showed you the student names. Now in the bottom center, you'll notice there's my deck of cards. There are slides, all right? This is the entire slide. Don't worry, we're not going to go through the whole thing. But at any time, if I'm running short of time and I want to skip ahead to a slide, instead of having to go slide after slide after slide, I can just go ahead, find it, and then put it up there, okay? And it will also go up on the student screen, okay? So let me go back to, so that's the deck of cards or slides. Lower left hand, you'll notice there's an icon, and it's red right now, and it says 41. So I just picked up where I left off and used the same code from this morning. So we had about, 14, 16?
Yeah, I think it was about 16.
16 people this morning. So when I click on that, you'll see turned red. Those are the people that were in it, and now they have exited the lesson. So now we have all the others that have joined in. And their name, next to the name is a green circle, so I know that they're in. I will warn you that if a student goes to NearPod, logs in, but then opens up another tab and goes into another browser and types in Minecraft or Fortnite or something else, you will not know if you're just at your computer. it's still going to be green next to his name or her name. So how do you avoid that? It's called you walk around the room and you exercise best practices and you monitor what's on their screens. Because remember, you don't have to be in front of your computer. In fact, you can actually go through an iPad. You can do this on your smartphone if you have an Apple. If you have an Apple phone, not Androids. So just keep that in mind. All right, so those are the students that were in here and are in there now. So the first feature, or the next feature I'd like to show you is a poll. NearPod recommends that every 3 to 4 slides you give them an activity so that they're accountable and they're engaged. So let's go. Total transparency. Here we go. If you had a choice, what would you like to be doing right now? Submit. Okay, now, at this time, take a look at your screen. I'm going to, again, if you were not projecting, I'm going to hit share, and then you can see for yourself how the class voted, all right? And what a surprise. Who doesn't want to be working in their classroom, or at least that's one of the top ones? That's the killer. As I said, I'm going to be right where you are next week, and I'm going to have to sit through professional development and in-service when I have 100 other things to do, like look at IEPs and look at the SGOs for the year and do so many other things. So I totally get it. So I'm really hoping that within this hour you find this beneficial and you see the magic that NearPod can bring to your lessons, and know that Sunday nights don't have to be so god-awful, knowing that Monday morning is about to be, you know, within 12 hours and you have to rush to the copy room and make those copies, because if you have a NearPod first thing in the morning, all you need to do is have the kids go on the Chromebooks and you're ready to go. There's nothing to prepare for. You're all ready to go. So it's a great, great tool. So some of you may have said you want to be at the beach. This is an example of NearPod's field trip in the 360. So go ahead and take your cursor and you can just move it around. And if you have the NearPod app on your phone, you can download it and type in this code, and you can actually hold up your phone and a device like a mobile device, and you can see the floor or the ceiling or the sky.
Yeah, or if you put into like a Samsung VR glasses, you could, it's a virtual reality trip. Like I said, a lot of this content is on there, so if you want to do a trip to the pyramids, you have the ability to do that. The nice thing about it too is from the teacher standpoint, you actually see what the kids are looking at too on your teacher side, which is kind of interesting, so you can kind of track what's going on.
So NearPod actually has, as I mentioned before, they have a store. They have over 6,000 lessons, and your district has purchased the district license. You have access to over 6,000 free lessons. 6,000. And there are actual lessons that are VR lessons and field trip lessons, or starters like for science and social studies. Keep in mind, there's a lot here. You're not going to do everything on the first day or the second day. I'm trying to give you an overview of all the features, but certainly you want to start off baby steps. Or do keep in mind also that you can download a lesson and just tweak it and modify it. You don't have to start from scratch. All right? Now, the next slide contains a video, and it's asking, do I want it to be on all the devices or this device only? If I hit all devices, you're going to be able to watch it at your own time. So if your kids have headphones or earplugs, yes. And if your bandwidth can handle it, yes. But in this case, my guess is you probably didn't bring earbuds, so you can also just put it on one device only. So that's what I'm going to click, and this is an overview of NearPod.
Introducing NearPod, an award-winning EdTech tool trusted by millions of teachers and used by tens of thousands of schools and districts. NearPod is a platform. platform that easily allows teachers to create, download, and teach interactive lessons across all student devices, including Chromebooks, iPads, iPhones, and Android devices, that works on any operating system or browser. NearPod works seamlessly with Google Classroom and integrates with learning management systems like Canvas and Schoology. Teachers can easily upload their existing PowerPoints, PDFs, Google Slides, and Sways and convert them into interactive NearPod lessons by including engaging activities like quizzes, polls, draw-ins, open-ended questions, fill-in-the-blanks, and 3D objects. And with NearPod VR, teachers can take their students on a virtual field trip anywhere in the world. NearPod VR works on any device, with or without headsets. Imagine taking students to the Taj Mahal, the Pyramids of Giza, the Washington Monument, or the Great Wall of China, all from the comfort of your classroom. Teachers launch a live lesson, students enter a lesson code, and the lesson is synced to all student devices. Teachers can also launch student-paced lessons, which allow students to complete a lesson on their own time wherever they are. Teachers get real-time feedback on student understanding and can access post-lesson reports to assess individual and class performance. NearPod also has a library of thousands of ready-to-teach, standards-aligned K-12 lessons across all subjects, from a curated list of distinguished publishers and authors, including Common Sense Education, Time for Kids, Learn Zillion, ReadWorks, Education.com, and expert K-12 teachers from our NearPod Authors program. All lessons are editable and customizable to meet the needs of individual teachers and students. Schools and districts have access to special admin features that allow administrators to create and manage a private library of interactive lessons with teachers at their school. NearPod also has exclusive in-person training and PD to ensure you get the most out of NearPod's incredible features and benefits. NearPod is the complete classroom solution that will transform your teaching and engage your students. Learn more at NearPod.com.
So if you already have PowerPoints or Google slide presentations, you already have your NearPod done, at least about 75–80% of it, because you can actually, when you're creating a NearPod, you can just go to that folder and presentation, click and drag it and pop it in, and all the slides will come up. And then from there, you can pick, okay, I want to put an activity here, I'm going to do a fill in the blank here, I'm going to do a quiz here. So if you already have that content, again, in like a PowerPoint, which is a slide, 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 imagine now you can take it and we call it PowerPoint on steroids, because you can bring in all of these interactive features. Question?
I was going to say, I know you said PowerPoint. What about like Smart Notebook?
Yes.
You
yeah.
use that as well?
Yes.
Okay.
You can download it and then upload it. Yep. So a funny story is I had my knee operated on 2 years ago, so I was out a couple of weeks, and I asked the teacher that was filling in for me we did a Google Hangout, and I actually did a NearPod from my home. And I did a live lesson, so we were able to go back and forth. So it was kind of like flipping the teacher in a sense, like flipping learning. And I've been tempted to do that when we have snow days too. And I know some districts and states are considering doing technology days so that we can get the credit. We don't have to make up days and have more of our summer taken away. And I think it's a matter of it's down the future. It's
the
coming.
conversations are starting in Connecticut right now.
Awesome. Because you probably get more snow than we do. All right, so this is a collaborative board, and it is asking me would I like to approve the students' comments before they are posted. So I say yes because we're working with kids, so we know what kids are capable of doing. And it's asking you to go ahead and share your thoughts on what you would like to learn about NearPod. So if you would be kind enough just to type in a couple of questions you may have, or watching that video if there's something that you're unfamiliar with, or is there a general question, and then just hit post. So it's a virtual post-it note that's going up on the board. as they're coming in, I'm going to take a look in the upper right corner, and I'm seeing that we do have at least one. I'm going to click on that post, and I'm going to approve it. So as they're coming in. Now, again, I did not start a new lesson. I could have started a new presentation and kept the older one open, by the way. If I started a brand new one, we would have started with a clean board, okay? You can also upload images. And like the open-ended question, like the quizzes, like the draw-it features, anytime you're asking a question, you can embed a reference. It could be an image, it could be a website, it could be a video. So if you've used Google Forms before, where there's a video and then you answer questions, it's kind of the same idea. So you might have a video you want the students to watch, and then from there they can comment on it. Or if it's the quizzes, you can assess their understanding. Okay, now, I'm going to approve these last three. All right, now, these were coming up in real time. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go over, oh, you know what? I left it, Ralph. I left it on the heart from earlier.
Okay.
So the clock is how they were coming up in real time. And the heart would be the likes. So I'd like you now to take a look and just go ahead and click on maybe one or two of the other responses that resonate with you. Is there any posted that you also feel you agree with and that you too want to know more about that? And go ahead and click on the heart. And then when I hit likes, it automatically lists them based on the popularity. So instead of having to go through every single one, if I want to make sure as your presenter, I better make sure I talk about how you access lessons, how the students log in, how you edit a lesson plan, how you search for lessons, and so forth. So that's the collaborate feature. Now we're going to move on to an actual lesson from NearPod. So this is a lesson on digital citizenship. The name of the lesson is the Digital Citizenship Pledge. We're not going to go through the entire lesson. I just want you to get a feel for what's available, the quality of the lessons that Common Sense and NearPod have created. They're fantastic. And from there, hopefully you'll be able to actually go into the store and we'll be able to access, you'll download, and then you'll see and answer those questions that you had come up. All right, so this is Digital Citizenship Pledge. Now the next slide is one for you. So you probably would not share this, but it'll give you the information on how you need to prepare for it and additional information. The next is a pledge that the kids sign during the lesson, so you'll need to download that. So it is blended learning. There's analog and digital. It's not just one or the other. Right? There's a question, to ponder, and then you have your goals. So take a look at those goals, because the next slide is going to assess how well you know the goals. Because the next slide, what I did just earlier today, this is not in the normal lesson, but I want to show you a feature called fill in the blank. So here it goes. So the next feature is fill in the blank. And I took those three goals, I just rewrote them, and I selected the words, and we will see them in the word bank. So go ahead, click on the words. Okay, establish blank and norms. So which one would it be? All right, expectations. So you're going to click on expectations, drag it up, and put it in. Now this looks a little involved. It's not. It is super easy to do. It is a matter of when you do a fill in the blank, you have 2 steps. You put in what you want, you work backwards. Like, so I put in everything, I click the next step, and then I just click the words I want to be in the word bank and save it. Super easy to do. So think about this. You can do this with math, facts. You can do this with vocabulary. You can do this with many different things. It doesn't have to be a paragraph or sentences. And then when you're done, you hit done, and then you get real-time feedback, okay?
It's not like that.
You know what you do?
It's not dragging.
Is I click the
Okay, get done, and nice one, 6 out of 6. Good job. All right, so this is fill in the blank. I'm going to move on to our next part. Okay. Here's an example of a open-ended question. I have a website, and it's asking the students to visit the community. Oh, it's a field trip, virtual reality field trip. It's asking the students to go in and take a look, explore, and reflect and think about what makes a community, and then the students can respond, all right? So then I can then take it and pass it out. All right, so that's the open-ended. So similar to the drop feature, all right? It's going to allow you to take answers, push them out. Nobody needs to know who gave the answer, yes.
Is everything the students submit saved? So you can...
Everything is saved to report.
Okay.
The only thing that's not saved is the on-the-fly activity, the add activity. That is not saved. So the pictures that you drew, those beautiful Picasso works of art, that won't be saved.
Okay, so if you embed it beforehand, it will be saved. But if
Absolutely.
it's something like, okay, let's just see who's got it before we keep moving forward, and it's one of those on the fly.
If it's on the fly, right, that's not going to be saved.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
You're welcome. That's a very good question. All right. So next we have the collaborative board. So we've already seen how that works. In addition to slides, you can also embed slideshows. A slideshow is simply a series of 2 or more slides that will come up, and if you scroll down, you're going to go from your community, you have access, you can control that. So even though I'm in teacher's mode and live, and I'm controlling the slides, when a slideshow comes up, that can be 2 or more slides, so the students can go at their own pace. So if you have instructions or something like step by step, you can do it. Here's an idea. Do like 4 or 5 slides. I'll do math again. And the problems are getting more challenging as the slides progress. So now you're differentiating again. Pass out some paper. Make it like an escape room where they have to get each answer and get a key until they, before they can go on to the next one. So that's the slideshow. And we have more vocabulary, expectations, and then it's really important that you realize that NearPod is not about 100% technology. We don't want our students with their heads in their screens for all the time. So they do have a lot of opportunities embedded in the lessons where they take their heads out of their screens and they actually talk to one another and they work with each other. So that's really important to remember. All right, so we have our, sorry I'm going so fast, but I want to get you to have an opportunity to do the next feature. So the next feature is brand new. It's called matching pairs. It just came out like a couple of weeks ago, and if you're familiar with Quizlet, it's a lot like Quizlet. So this is the matching pairs where the slides there, you tap on one of the slides and you tap on the other and you try to find the matching ones. So these are vocabulary definitions. So go ahead and tap on one of the slides like community and find the definition. Okay. Now you do have an option to give a timer on this. So if you've done Kahoot or maybe some of those other platforms, you have timers. I did not choose a timer. You tap on community, okay? Now find the definition of the community, okay? And then you got it, okay? So once you have two matching, you'll get a green check mark and it'll shade in blue and you'll know you're finished. So that's called matching pairs. All right, next we're going to take a quiz. Any type of assessment, pre, post assessment, you can embed with the quiz. There are 3 questions. I'm going to ask that you get at least one of them wrong, so you see what it looks like in real time. So here goes, quiz. I'm just going to ask you 3 questions. Do keep in mind, like the slideshow, I have 3 questions here. So once the students answer the first, and they submit, it'll take them off automatically to the second. So it's at their pace. Okay, now I don't remember what the questions were, but when I hover over and I click on number 1, it'll pull up the question. So for you, the teacher, if you want to take a peek at the answers and the questions and what's coming up, you can do that. Now again, I have, the names are hidden, so as a teacher, I would not have that hidden and this not projected, obviously, if I want to take the pulse of where each of the students are at. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to share, and I'd like you to take a look at your screen, and hopefully everyone has submitted, and you're going to get instant feedback on how you performed, all right? You'll get either a full green circle, which is 3 for 3, or part red, part green. So I push that out, and now what I'd like you to do is you can actually hit the My Answers, and you can find out which ones you had correct and which ones were incorrect. All right, so that's the quiz feature. So we've talked about fill in the blanks and draws, the 3Ds, the field trips, a lot there to think about. So at this time, what I'd like to do is I want to stop talking because I want you to have an opportunity to start looking at the store. So how are we doing with those those accounts, Ralph?
I have them. We just have to hand them out to everybody. So.
Okay. All
So
right.
I don't know if we want to kind of view it here, but then, well, actually, they can see the store. They just can't actually click into any of the lessons.
Right, they can see the store. So if you want to open up another browser and then go into NearPod.com, you can go into Explore Lessons. And the library will come up. And there's many different types of lessons. But probably the easiest would be to go over to filters. You can go by standards, Common Core, NGSS, or by state. There is Connecticut. You can go by, you're all free, so that's not an issue. By the subject area, what type, if you want a specific type, and then a specific grade, and then hit search and they'll all come up. So I'm already in. So let's say this comes up and I'm really, really interested in exploring who was Rosa Parks. So yeah, you know what, I think I like that. I can preview it by looking at it like that. and it'll take me through. Yeah, this is something I like. So what I do is I just hit add to my library, and just like that, it's going to go into my library. So if I go back to my library, you'll see that it's going to be available, and there it is. Now, as you accumulate more and more lessons, you'll probably want to have the folders, and the folders are a lot like Google folders, okay? You can have your math, your science. All right, so.
No, I think so.
We have a question. So we're finding great lessons that have like a price on them.
They're all
Is
paid.
part of what the district pays,
They're already
just so we
covered.
can have
No,
access
when
to
you
it?
log in with your login, everything that you see that's paid is free. Everything. So you have access to every one of these lessons. No, I have it right here. I don't know why, for some reason or another, this school.
When you're logged in, it goes down.
Because I want to be clicking $2.99.
There's also a lesson called First Day of Class that I wrote, and it's a great lesson that you run on the first day of class when you can. And it asks for like what you like to call, who's your favorite teacher, what's your learning style, and I have like the different learning modalities, and they have to circle, you know, how they like to learn. So you gather that data and make sure you are without being like good on the spot. Yeah. That's called first day of class.
Thank you.
And then I actually have last day of class that I use, and that's their turn to give me feedback. So about self-efficacy and reflection, and talk about favorite moment in the class, what did they learn most, what were they afraid of, what did you surprise them, what did Mrs. Leon do really well.
Yeah.
What was an area that was
Yeah.
yeah, I went there, and they were like so protective. They're like, you know, I said, my girl, I'm like,
Yeah.
what it is. So it was a great way, you know, then I get this my backlog for my
Does anybody else want the password to log in?
Have a growth mindset.
Have a growth mindset, that's funny. Yeah, you're all on.
Oh, this, I see what this is. The bingo's pretty cool.
Yeah.
If not in any order. I would say.
Amanda, that was his biggest class.
Mr. Wood is so structured and organized that he would just like, he would get, Mr. Wood, I'm really nervous about Mr. Wood. He yells really loud. He was very anxious about it.
What's your learning preference?
Because Mr. No, I know, but he was right for the
Do you
schedule.
like to read a book, you know?
No.
So,
But you
and
guys
then
were
at the
talking
end
about
of
how
it, it has
anxious he
page
was.
president.
So your username is your link. Yeah, right here. Email.
Right.
And then just type that in and it'll ask you to change the password.
So you can
That's your
go,
temporary password.
I'll show
You know
you.
what,
So your
there's
password is
a-
right here.
You see me?
So one of the questions was, can you print out? So one option that you have is that you can export a lesson to a PDF, and then from there, the slides will come up.
My name on it?
So that's how you can do the bingo one.
Okay.
So you can, the option was you can print it out as a PDF. You don't have to put any class list. It's not like Google Classroom. It's nothing like that. Do you use Google Classroom?
Once you log in once, it's going to ask you to change.
Good. So what you're going to do now is, why don't you go to the computer and why don't you download a lesson?
And then just use your email as your login. But it's going to ask you to change it right away.
Now, is our classes already in there?
No, so this is not like your students. I'll show you in a minute. Actually, the Didi, are we?
They have over 6,000.
Didi, are we? Didi,
Yeah.
did we cover?
And then you can do your grade level.
Did we cover everything right now? Or?
Oh, I didn't do reports.
Oh, okay.
So I know you want to see reports.
You might just need another location, there's no rhyme or reason to.
Well, most of Tracy's work done.
No,
no,
but
what he's
these
saying, they didn't
teachers
move
don't,
He didn't never update.
these teachers
He
don't.
moved from second to third.
But you're not current names.
Oh, no, because I got it from you. So, all right, so then we'll take, give me a list, we're gonna be taken care of by tomorrow. So
All right,
do you,
if I can have your attention just for 60 seconds.
yeah. And while you guys are, while Dee Dee's getting ready too, one of the questions that came up, guys, was about students. It's intentional that we don't have the students tied to this. There's no student record that they're keeping. It's actually kept on your record. So when they log in, use your Google Classroom or another way to be able to log in. They're just going to use that simple code to get in and get to the lessons that you want. So once again, it saves on the issue of security of student data because the student is not tied to NearPod. You are.
So I want to go and I want to see how my students did on the lesson. So I'm going to go to reports, okay? So I have my library, explore, join, create reports. I tap on reports. That is at the home page. Upper left-hand corner, you'll see a house and the different colors. That will bring you back to the landing page. I go to reports and I'm going to look for a lesson I did a while back. So I can show you what it looks like. And I'm going to go to this one here. And I have the students and their, for example, their drawings. So there's all the whiteboard drawings that are popping up for those that submitted. And we know as teachers, whiteboards are great because they're easy, but a couple of bad things. A, it's very easy to look at another kid's from another, students, or when they're all holding it up, you're trying to kind of assess really quick and you're getting seasick because they're waving them. Or after they wipe it, it's gone. You don't have any work, So whatever they put, be it a drawing, so I have those beautiful Picassos that you drew earlier. Collaborate, so you have that. So here's the board that this group did earlier, all right? You have that you can go to. By the way, you can take this and you could share this with that Collaborate. You could share that like with your class website, so maybe you want to show it to your parents. Things like that. So I go to download. I can go with a PDF of the entire class. So I'm going to open that up. And now there's my report of all the students. Or the other option is I can just go to download and go to one particular student. So if I have a parent-teacher conference coming up, or if I'm doing grades, or if a student's being considered for an IEP, I can go ahead and download someone in particular. Oh yeah, there's Beth. This is Beth's results. Thank you so much. All right, so that's the reporting. All right, thank you for your attention on that. So it's a little after 2. I'm not sure what Ralph wants to do. I will be here to answer any questions you have. I do ask that you do one final thing for me, and that is it's very important as a trainer that I get feedback from you, and NearPod's always looking for feedback from participants. So if you would be kind enough to fill this out, and I'm going to write down my name on the board. I'm also going to write down my Twitter handle and my email address.
When it says name, you want my name or your name?
Your name. I think it asks for the trainer in there.
I can't believe we still have a chalkboard.
great. And if I can, you know, guys, I want to kind of, before I get into like the end of this, and then we can sit down and still kind of follow through. I'm just going to end the live stream after. So I want to thank Dee Dee for coming down, first of all, for helping out and getting us started. We will have other opportunities as time goes on, and part of what we want to do is I want to make sure that over this next year you start getting introduced to personalized learning tools. So this is one example of one where you can start taking your own environment within your school, collaborate together to develop those personalized tools that you can use. Hopefully you can see the value of using something like this with your students in a variety of different situations, not just digital citizenship. So once again, it's just kind of an introduction to that. Our goal this year is to start getting feedback. You know, is the tool effective? Are you feeling that you're using it on a variety of different purposes? A lot of times I used to use, you know, if it's Adobe Spark or some other tools that are out there that are similar, but this has a lot more power than any of those, and it's a lot easier to use. So keep that in mind as you go through this year. We'll be trying to come up, I'm going to work with Janine and with others down in central office on how do we kind of integrate these tools a little bit better for you. We will have a learning management system that's going to be available for teacher professional development in more of a blended learning opportunity. And we'll start posting like these videos. Right now, these are actually on our YouTube channel. As soon as I hit end on this, they'll be posted. They're available for you to go back to. We want to start doing the same thing with a lot of our other tools that we use within the schools. So yeah, guys, once again, thanks a lot. And I'm just going to cut the live stream off right now for anybody that's watching live. And we are done for the day, at least from that end. So thanks.